Good day, everyone. My name is Himendran Soriano, a BS Mathematics Education 3A student of the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines. Today, we will be discussing about factoring polynomials using common monomial factor. Before we begin, let's have a quick recall about GCF. So GCF, or the greatest common factor of two or more monomials, is the product of the greatest common factor of the coefficients and the greatest common factors of the variables. Remember that when we multiply two or more numbers, the result is a single number. But in factoring, this is not the case. In factoring, we begin with a single number and express it as a product of two or more numbers. For example, when we multiply 7 and 4, we get 28. But in factoring, the factor for 28 is 7 and 4, and 28 and 1. Another example, for 6, the factor for 6 is 2 and 3, and 6 and 1. So now, what is a common monomial factor? So a common monomial factoring is the process of writing a polynomial as a product of two polynomials, one of which is a monomial that factor each term of the polynomial. Let us now define polynomials. Polynomial is an expression of more than two algebraic terms, especially the sum of several terms that contain different powers of same variables. A polynomial can also be based on terms. The terms that we follow depend on the number of terms. One term, we call it a monomial. Two terms, we call it a binomial. Three terms, we call it a trinomial. And four or more terms, we call it a multinomial. Remember that terms are divided by a plus and minus signs. For example, for monomial, we have x. For binomial, we have 3x plus y. For trinomial, we have 3x plus y minus z. Or four or more terms, which is the multinomial, we can have 3x plus y minus x plus 3. So there are four constraints that a polynomial cannot be called as a polynomial. First, if a variable has negative exponent. For example, x raised to the power of negative 2 is not a polynomial. Next, if a variable is inside a radical symbol, for example, square root of x is not a polynomial since the variable is inside the radical symbol. Third, if a variable is under a denominator, for example, 1 over x, so 1 over x is also not a polynomial. Fourth, a variable has a rational exponent, for example, x raised to the power of 1/2 is not a polynomial. There are two steps that we need to follow in factoring polynomials using common monomial factor. First, we need to get the GCF, or the greatest common factor. Second, we need to divide the greatest common factor, or the GCF, to the term in the expression. For example, we have here 3x plus 6. So the GCF for 3x and 6 is 3. So 3x divided by 3, we have here the quantity of x. Copy the sign plus 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the factored form of the polynomial is 3 times the quantity of x plus 2. Another example, we have here 5x squared minus 15x. So the GCF for 5x squared and 15x is, we have here 5x. So 5x squared divided by 5x, we have here the quantity of x, minus 15x divided by 5x, we have here 3. So the factored form of the polynomial will be 5x times the quantity of x minus 3. Next example, we have here 4x squared plus 6x plus 8. So the greatest common factor for 4x squared, 6x, and 8 is 2. So we have here 4x squared divided by 2. We have here times the quantity of 2x squared. Copy the sign plus 6x divided by 2. We have here 3x. Copy again the sign. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the factored form of the polynomial would be 2 times the quantity of 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. Another example, we have a 2x cubed y minus 12x squared y to the fourth. So the greatest common factor for 2x cubed y and 12x squared y to the fourth is 2x squared y. So 2x cubed y divided by 2x squared y would be times the quantity of x, copy the sign minus, 12x squared y to the fourth divided by 2x squared y would be 6y cubed. So the factored form for the polynomial would be 2x squared y times the quantity of x minus 6y cubed. Let's have another example. 2x cubed minus 15y to the fourth. Notice that in this polynomial, the GCF for 2x cubed minus 15y to the fourth is 1. So in this case, since we cannot factor 2x cubed minus 15y to the fourth, this polynomial is called a prime polynomial. Remember that a prime polynomial is a polynomial that cannot be factored into lower degree polynomial. That would be all. Thanks for listening. God bless.